Hello, and welcome to Grow Green with Vanessa. I am in the Chicagoland area in Zone 6A. So, I wanted to talk a little bit today about using Oyas to water your gardens. So, there are two different ways to spell Oyas. I've seen it spelled Olla. I've also seen Oya spelled Oya. Just so if you see it spelled in two different ways, they are referring to the same thing. So, what an Oya is a unglazed terracotta container that you bury inside your raised bed or inside your container, and you bury it down to about here. It is unglazed, so water that you put into your terracotta container is absorbed into your soil whenever your soil is dry. So your responsibility really with the Oya is to keep it filled with water. You also want to make sure that you replace your top on it after filling it with water, because this can be a breeding ground for mosquitoes and other pests and things can get inside it. So you just want to, and dirt. So you want to make sure that you keep it covered. Depending on how hot it is outside, you may have to fill this more than usual, but you just will have to just watch it and see, because the Oyas come in different sizes, just to give you a comparison. So of course the smaller Oya will need to be filled more often than your larger Oya. The Oyas are a great tool to use for watering. You have to decide how you want to water your garden. So that was always an issue for me. Just coming up with an effective way to water. In the past, I have actually purchased irrigation supplies for my garden, but have never used it. So I actually still have some unused irrigation supplies. And last year, my husband actually bought some irrigation supplies, but and which I appreciated very much. And so I'm sure he thought this may be helpful, for me, because I think I did bring up quite a bit, quite a few times, that I'm hoping the garden is being watered consistently and evenly. So this year, I decided, one, I would continue using the rain barrels for my main source of water. We had 2.5 rain barrels, 50-gallon rain barrels that I used to water two 8x4 beds, in addition to maybe 12 containers, 12 grow bags. Had a lot of containers in the yard, and I also had four smaller raised beds. I have two raised beds that were 1x2. I had two that were that were 24 by 48 and then inches, and then I had the 8x4 feet grow bed. So the 2.5 50-gallon rain barrels would normally last me until about the end of July. So after that point, I would have to use water from the house, from the spigot, which is no problem. I would prefer to have more rainwater, because I do believe that I witnessed the plants doing much better with rainwater versus water from the house or water from, the city lines. But you have to have water, so you have to use whatever it is you have. So this year I decided that I also wanted to try the Oyas, and we'll see whether or not this helps to preserved water. I'm not sure if it will, but we will see. But I'm hoping also that this will give me a more consistent watering. So what I've done is I ordered 4 of these containers, and this was a liter. And this was by a company called Blushlier. And then I also ordered 8 of these. And this is supposed to be a half liter. And this was from a company called Double Field. There are small Oyas, but I have seen Oyas that are up to, they hold as much as 1 gallon of water. So usually one Oya will water about a 4 by 4 square foot. So in an 8 by 4 foot garden, I would think I'd only need 2 Oyas. What I'm not certain of though is the size of the Oya in relation to the area that it covers. So I'll probably start out with about 3 Oyas in each 8 by 4 bed. And if I find that I can use more of them, I'll use the smaller Oyas, the half liter or either the liter size Oya. But I'm excited to see whether or not it helps me to conserve water. And so I bought these from these few Oyas I purchased through Amazon. And I just needed something to get me started. So my sister owns a ceramic company called BJA Ceramics here in the Chicagoland. And so I thought I should just order them from her. Because this is, something that her company can produce. So I put an order in for about, I believe, 18 of them from her company, but I didn't place the order timely. So I went out and bought just a few of them, so I have some to get started with, in addition to my rain barrels, because I still will have, this year I'll have 4 rain barrels instead of 2.5. And I say I had 2.5 rain barrels because one of the rain barrel would leak intermittently. And so I know that I was not capturing 50 gallons of water like with the other 2. So I'm really hoping that with the Oyas, in addition to my 4 50-gallon rain barrels, that I'll have enough water to take me through the end of August. That would even be ideal for me if it took me through the end of August. So I will keep you guys updated. And it's just a method of watering to consider. Everyone's lives are different, so you have to find the watering solution that fits your life, fits your schedule, fits your family. It's something that you want to do. There are different options out there for watering, but Oya is definitely a viable option. Oyas have been around for thousands of years, but it wasn't until recently that I even heard of an Oya, and I thought that it would be a great watering technique to use in conjunction with the rain barrels that I currently use. So I'm going to give it a try and see whether or not this will extend the use of the rainwater that I collect in the rain barrels. One thing that I didn't mention earlier was that most counties or many counties have rain barrel and compost programs. So contact your county if you're interested in collecting rain water in rain barrels to see whether or not they offer discounted rain barrels. The rain barrels can be pretty expensive depending on what you want. You can pay a lot of money for a rain barrel. It all really depends on what you want. My goal for a rain barrel is to collect rainwater. So I'm not looking for anything fancy, but there's something out there for everyone. So check that out. So I'll let you know how it goes once we get the first plants outside. And I'll let you know whether this is something that I will continue next year. The one thing that I I'm not really sure about how this will go, but these have to be dug up before winter. So if you're in a climate that doesn't get cold and your ground doesn't freeze, you don't have to worry about that. But I'm in the Chicagoland and it freezes here. So every year I'll have to dig these up, store them in the basement, and then put them back into the planters. For me, that won't be a big deal as long as they're not difficult to dig up. So we'll see. And I can't imagine that they will be difficult to dig up, because as your soil develops into a more a healthier soil, it's not compacted. So it shouldn't be that difficult to get up. But just keep in mind, this year will be my first year using the soil. And I haven't even gotten to the point where I know exactly what I'm going to put into these raised beds quite yet. We've been searching for trees that have been cut down. We still are trying to figure out how we will fill our raised beds, which are 26 inches tall, but we'll figure something out. But as long as your soil is nice and loose like it should be, this shouldn't be hard to get out. So I'll let you know how it goes, putting them in, getting them out, whether or not I have breakages throughout the season. I'll report on all of that for you. So if this seems like an option that would work for you, maybe you can give it a try also. So thanks for stopping by today. And remember to find your joy. Mine is gardening in retirement. Bye.